Call this board meeting to order. George, could you take roll?
Sure. Colonel Evans?
Here.
Mr. Grozan?
Here.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Here.
Mr. Miko?
Here.
Mr. Naso?
Here.
All present.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our goals and our district goals. We have 3 of them. The first one is student achievement. What we're about. It's everything we do is focused on student achievement. We have 2 supporting goals to that. One is financial prudence, and in that, we try to maximize every taxpayer dollar so that we can then deliver on the student achievement and stay within our means. The third one is community engagement, and that is where we try to, it takes a community, right? It takes a village. So we use all the resources that we have in the community to do our best to deliver on student achievement. And with that, that brings us to public comment. And I do have one tonight. Mary, would you step up to the podium, state your name and your address, and just as a heads up, the public comment is just that, it's comment, it's not necessarily a discussion.
Right.
And you've got 3 minutes, try not to use any names. There's children here, so I don't have to warn you about that. And we look forward to hear what you have to say. So, thank you.
My name is Mary Kozel. I live at 18022 Shermer Road. My children attend Chapman. I'm here because my children are complaining. There's an issue with the school buses. I have spoke to Steve. He's head of
Reckner.
head of transportation. Him and transportation told me there's nothing that they can do for me. So I feel like there
the
is
next step.
something. My children are complaining, so there's an issue. Chapman gets out at 3:30, okay? My children don't get picked up until 3:45, 3:50. That's because of the middle school. This has been going on for 2 years now. I've called whenever this first started. They told me that they will get this taken care of whenever the middle school first opened up. It's 2 years now. Why isn't it taken care of? The high schoolers and the middle schoolers don't have to wait. The elementary school kids do. It's not fair. So I did, like I said, I spoke to Steve. Steve said there's nothing they can do. It's a district-wide problem. You know, just more or less you have to deal with it. We need to fix it. We really need to fix it.
So,
My-
just to summarize, so the children at Chapman, the school gets out at what time?
3:30.
3:30, right? And they're not getting picked up for their bus ride home until 3:45, 3:50.
Correct. My children don't come home until 4:19, 4:20. Enzo here, he has ADHD. He also has other things going on. He is,
Got some cool grips.
he rides with typical, peers. I want him to continue riding with typical peers. He's been doing that for the last 4 years, and that's what the teachers, like for him to do. But now he is literally drained out. Teachers even saying, he's drained sitting there waiting for the bus, along with other kids. So it's just not fair.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll look into it, and someone from the district will get back to you promptly and talk through the issue and either explain how it all works or have a solution. So someone will get back to you shortly. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Naso. Under timely information, we do have, the first item is a resolution to enact a prohibition of use of district premises. Be it resolved upon my recommendation that the board adopts the resolution to prohibit the use of the district premises as specified in Exhibit A, and this does require a vote.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Duke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, George. Any discussion? We've all read it. Okay. Let's vote.
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Grozant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes,
Motion passes.
motion passes.
All right, the second item, we're going to get our wellness team from the middle school up and ready to present, but I tell you what, I am thrilled tonight to have our entire wellness department from Strongsville Middle School here tonight. I don't know, about a month ago, a representative group came to meet with Jenny to share their new vision for PE in our district, and I thought, you know, Jenny came and shared it with me, and she was really excited. And I went and talked with a group of them, and you could just tell the passion and excitement for what they're doing and their new vision for what we're doing. And it wasn't just about how we can make the wellness department at the middle school better. It was about how we can make it K to 12 better. And so they took it upon themselves to get together, to request time to get together with the entire PE department, or wellness department as we're calling it now, and take a look at how this vision is going to be rolled out. And I've told them personally, I'll say it to the board, I'm so proud of the work they're doing. We're always looking for our staff. How can they push the boundaries? How can they get better? How can they challenge one another to evolve and grow? And I'm going to turn it over to them, who they're going to share with you what their vision is and what it's going to look like for the kids of Strongsville moving forward.
Is it more battle ball?
It's no. Mr. Naso, we will strike that from the record and move on. So, Mr. Wilson, you up first?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Excellent.
All right. My name is Brian Wilson, and with me today are my fellow colleagues, April Pillar, Becky Pollock, Mark Demerly, Chad Hubble, Jeff Martinelli, and Kevin Weir. I'd like to thank Jenny, Aaron Green, and Cameron for giving us this platform to share with everyone, as well as the board, about our wellness program at Strongsville City Schools. Because of our administration, our wellness department came together recently to align our curriculum, K through 12, something that has not been done in recent memory. This was done in an effort to institute a cultural change, and we, as a department, have been and will be taking strides to ensure that all students are given the skills and knowledge to leave high school with something that goes beyond just a credit earned. Together, as a unit, we have observed the following: low muscular strength and endurance, decreased coordination, a heavy increase in BMI, lack of muscle tone, a particular disinterest in moving their bodies, and an increase in sedentary lifestyles. During this presentation, we want to emphasize the importance of keeping fitness activity within the school and how it positively correlates with test scores. Changes to our curriculum, activities added, and a major shift from your parents' PE, my parents' PE, our PE, to hashtag not your parents' PE.
I'm going to talk about childhood obesity. And with childhood obesity being at an all-time high, we have a responsibility as a district and as teachers to diminish this. And while we cannot control what is happening in the rest of the world, we can control what's happening right here in Strongsville. We have about 5,500 kids in our school district, and about 1,900 of them are overweight or obese. How do I know that? According to the CDC, 1 in 3 Ohio kids is overweight or obese, and the prevalence rate of obesity in children has tripled since the 1970s. Because of this increased rate of obesity, for the first time, we're going to see a generation that is less healthy and have a shorter life expectancy than their parents, which is a shame. And that's why we're presenting you with these facts, because we want to make a change not only within the middle school, but within the entire district. What you're going to see here is a short little video that shows the obesity rates in the United States for adults. I want you to pay attention to these little categories down here at the bottom. It's amazing what you're going to see here as we go from 1985 all the way up to 2016. If you pay attention to Ohio and look at how it gets darker and darker and darker, and they keep adding more and more categories as the years go on. In 2011, they changed how they rated it so that the colors changed it a little bit. But the point that I'm trying to make right here is this is ridiculous, and our kids and our adults are becoming more and more obese. 34% of Ohio adults are overweight or obese. And in Ohio, we are ranked in the top third of all states in childhood obesity. So why am I presenting this, or why are we presenting you with this information? Well, the one thing that's consistent with kids across America is school. And now, more than ever, we can seize this opportunity and educate not only the child, but we need to emphasize and take action to seize the opportunity to do what's best for the whole child.
So what are the effects of being overweight and obese? We all know that there's many diseases that go along with it. And unfortunately, a lot of these health consequences we're seeing at a younger and younger age in our school. I have a student in 7th grade who has high blood pressure. We have a student in 6th grade who has type 2 diabetes. Obese children are more prone also to the low self-esteem, negative body image, and depression. We're seeing also more and more kids that have mental disorders, and we're hoping that in our wellness program, and as these kids participate in fitness activities, they'll feel better about themselves and they'll think better about themselves. In our wellness program at SMS, we teach our students about their heart and how to exercise in their target heart rate zone, and we use heart rate monitors. So the kids are really learning about their heart, how to take care of it, how to exercise so that they can be well throughout their adulthood. And again, we also hope that through our wellness program, we improve or reduce the amount of stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues that are plaguing our youth. Thank you.
Academic performance. Where does that come in all this? That's what you want to hear.
Yep.
That's what we all want to hear. The graphic that you see here over on the sideboard is a little bit more than 20 years of studies, growing evidence on physical activity and academic performance. And a good majority of these over the studies that you see here support the fact that physical activity benefit immediate and long-term academic performance. Active kids learn better. Grades, test scores, classroom management. We understand the importance of test scores and academic achievement, and we want to contribute to the success of that in the district. In the bottom left-hand corner here, you see the two brain scans of physical activity after just walking for 20 minutes, and the amount of brain activity in an individual after just that much activity, and what it can do to that person. What you're looking at here, the impact of after-school physical activity program on a children's brain activity. Active bodies equals active minds. We need to get our kids moving. You'll notice once again the test that they conducted here in the bottom left-hand corner, the pre-test of 2 individuals and a post-test after 9 months of after-school activity. Upper right-hand corner, the red part, much more cognitive ability going on in that individual than the one on the bottom, where he was not active after school in any kind of activity. We have made a great amount of progress as a department, as a program. We want to continue to grow, and we want to do that with the help of the district.
Good evening. We spent a little bit of time talking about the why we're here and why we feel like the vision is important. Now we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the what we're currently doing and what we need to do moving forward and how we're going to do that to make the vision a reality. First and foremost is going to be the culture change. We feel it starts at the elementary level. We're going to continue doing what we do at the middle school and what they're doing at the high school. But by the time the incoming kindergarten students reach us at the middle school and then reach at the high school level, that new culture will have been established, making wellness a priority in their lives. 2 is course offerings. At the moment, we feel we need more time in the classroom to give our students more opportunities when it comes to wellness. Right now, at the elementary level, we have gone from 2 days per week of physical education down to 1 opportunity of physical education every 3 days, with that level possibly even decreasing more with the 5th grade students due to the move of DARE to the 5th grade level, and DARE possibly being a part of elementary PE. Currently, at the middle school level, starting in 2018-19, our 6th graders are going to have a quarter less time than they had last year in physical education. Our 7th graders will have either a quarter, a semester, or possibly a full year away from wellness based on which selection they made as an elective this year. Let's think about the 6th graders for a second. If I'm a 6th grade student and I take physical education first quarter next school year, there's a chance that I may not take wellness again until the 2nd quarter of my 8th grade year. That's over a year and a half away from wellness education. At the high school, waivers have de-emphasized the importance of wellness, which we believe is counterproductive in the development of the whole student. Thirdly, community outreach and community engagement, one of the district pillars. By getting the community more involved in our programs, we believe the change in culture that we're going to see will be more apparent to all of our SCS families. We want both students and parents to buy in to our program and see the benefits of wellness and the changes that it makes to the quality of their lives. That's our goal. What are we currently doing? As you can see here, there are a lot of positive things going on within our program, not only at the elementary level, middle school, but also at the high school level. This is what we have already put in place to strengthen our programs and make our programs and our curriculum more relevant to our students' current and future success. We're excited about what we've got. We're excited about the future because we feel like there are great things coming down the road when it comes to our wellness department, K through 12.
One question before you go on. What's UDL?
Universal Design for Learning.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so thank you to our administration. We have had the opportunity to align our wellness curriculum K-12, like you have heard. We have that 5-year plan that we continue to talk about. That would be referencing the kindergartners coming in next year. After 5 years, then they would be at our middle school, and we'd see that shift and that change of what we're doing in our curriculum and what they'll have learned and how we can grow them from there. Our goal every year is to just be better. With the implementation of new course offerings, more class time, and focusing our content on the whole child, we believe that we can be great. All right, so the SCS must have changes is more class time. Based on the prevalence of depression, mental health disorders, and other health risks that we hear every day in our youth, we need more wellness education. Increasing offerings at all levels will help educate our students on their own mental health issues, give them accountability for personal nutrition, which makes up so much of our health, and give them the opportunity to learn proper form and function when it comes to exercise. This knowledge is very essential to the maximum success of all individuals. New course offerings such as an addition of health in both 6th and 7th grade and at the elementary increased time would be extremely beneficial for the overall health and well-being of our students. As for the waivers at the high school, we believe that every SCS student deserves access to wellness education that we are providing at the high school. For instance, Strongsville City Schools, they have the highest test score rankings of #1 in standardized testing in Ohio. They require all high school students to take 2 semesters of physical education, and waivers are not an option at their school. Like Chad has mentioned, we're making great progress. We're creating and implementing remarkable ideas and lessons into our classrooms already, and we have big, big plans for next year. A few of our goals are listed here. We're working on obtaining a rock wall at both the middle and the high school, possibly implementing field trips for the 7th graders to places like Play, CLE, and Get Air. We're increasing our student participation in the National Archery in Schools program, which currently only the 8th graders are participating in. And our 3 most favorite new ideas and suggestions that we're planning is monthly family wellness nights, getting the community in our schools, showing them what we're doing when it comes to our wellness classes, teaching parents and grandparents and whoever wants to come. The board maybe wants to join in on our wellness program, show them and educate them about their body. Staff fitness nights, bonding our staff, and then our biggest goal is to plan a yearly K-12 health fair, open to the community, have communities come in and teach them, about healthy eating, nutrition, all the things that makes us all whole.
For the past 2 years, we have went to our state conference and presented on our state standards and assessments and how we have incorporated Google Apps for education. One district we met at the conferences was Port Clinton. They were so intrigued by what we were doing that they requested a professional development day to come and visit our department to learn what we were doing so they could incorporate it into their district. Our rep for our PE uniforms and sport uniforms is at our school numerous times throughout the year, delivering things or checking in to see how we are doing. He emailed this to us this past year regarding our department at the middle school. Thank you to Scott Benson for creating this video, which showcases what our wellness program looks like at all 3 levels.
What I like best about gym is jump roping. What I like is playing all the games.
Having a weight room and many different teachers makes the SMS Wellness program unique. The weight room has many different types of fitness.
The reason why I like this wellness class compared to other years about gym is because we get to do a lot of fun things. Instead of just having a ball thrown at us and say, play the game, we have a lot of equipment to use and to experiment with, to learn how to keep a good posture, stamina, muscular endurance, and things like that. For kids like me who aren't the best at sports, it makes gym a lot funner.
The SMS Wellness program does a lot of cool different things, like we learned about how to shoot archery, and we learned badminton, and we did rugby outside.
What I like about the wellness program is that when we strap up heart rate monitors, I feel more fit, I feel like I'm active and I can strive to my best. It's not just a gym class. it's something that you can do for the rest of your life. Be active, not just, hey, I'm just going to do this for fun. This is something that you can do for the rest of your life.
1.3, don't skip any.
Weight, speed, and agility class. I've been taking it for 4 semesters straight now. It is the perfect way to get my daily workout in.
I'm a thrower here at the high school, so strength is definitely very important to me. So this class has just basically helped me get stronger throughout the years, and I've taken this class 4 straight semesters. I'm a senior now, and just hoping that this class can help me get to where I want to be, throwing-wise and sports-wise.
It is very easy and convenient. You don't have to go outside of school. You keep it all right here. So the energy is alive. You don't have to be quiet, and it really helps you build yourself up. Increases your confidence in your body.
I'm a senior here at Strongsville High School, and I've been taking this class for 2 semesters now. And it's actually a really fun class, and it helps me, get motivated and get my workout in instead of actually going somewhere like Planet Fitness or actually paying to go somewhere. And it's just a great class.
We want to thank you very much for this opportunity to share our goals and vision with you.
Thank you.
So I have a few questions. We have a finite number, whoever wants to answer, it doesn't matter to me. We have a finite number of minutes in a school day, right? You guys can only touch that student, once, twice a week at the middle school, let alone next year, my son won't even see you guys. He had one option, and if he wanted to continue with the orchestra, that's what he had to do. It would make sense to me that you guys are gonna have to have some direct conversations with parents. Is that something that you guys have put some time into or some thoughts? Because there are kids in our buildings that are obese, that need to make a change today, not wait 2 years, 5 years when you guys don't even get to see them anymore. Is that something you guys have thought about and talked about?
When you say that, do you mean, are we willing to have conversations with family about lifestyle changes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and our answer is absolutely. It's something that we've had a vision for a while, and we just had to put it together. And so that is absolutely something we are comfortable doing. That's something that we've talked about doing. That's part of our family fitness initiative. We thought about sending home newsletters about how to stay healthy and what they can do in the Strongsville community specifically, so they don't have to go somewhere far away or pay lots of money, but getting the whole family active. And again, Mr. Demerly pointed out to me that whole culture change. So starting at the elementary level, really hopefully hitting those elementary families hard, so that when we do see them in 5 years, and when those kids leave us to go to the high school, the whole family's on board, and that whole culture for the fitness and the family and themselves has changed.
Okay.
If that answers your
I've got a few more.
That's okay. Thank you.
And then also, we had a great in-service with not only just us, but the elementary school teachers, with the high school teachers. This is something that we've visioned, but it's relatively a new thing with the whole department. So we still have a lot of ideas. We're still trying to work out the kinks. You can tell we're all on board on this.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
are.
And it's important.
Yeah.
It's critical.
Yeah. So we're gonna do what we need to do to make that happen. But obviously, it's gonna take more than just us. So, yeah.
The only other, well, I've got a few more comments. We have a rec department in our city, right, that has dropping participation. Less kids are participating in just rec baseball, rec soccer. It would be a good idea, my thought, is to have maybe some city participation, to try to guide kids, to have them provide you additional information. Just kids being active, practice, games, enjoying it. I'm not gonna, my other comment is, obviously you're gonna have to work with the administration right? I mean, you've got a middle school principal here, and Cameron's here. What you guys want to do is going to have to fit into the curriculum and the nuts and bolts and the studying that our kids have to do. But I believe in what you guys said, because being physical, being active, almost can get you more focused, get away some of the emotions and those kinds of things. And then final comment is your community fair idea. It's a wonderful idea. Jenny came to us 5 years ago, Jenny, about the idea of bringing additional funding from different community groups for different things that we wanted to do at the middle school. If you guys put together a plan, an actual date plan, this is what you want to do, start small and grow, come and see me, and we'll walk that to a number of community groups, and you guys will get support. Okay? Thank you.
Duke? Yes, thank you. A couple of things. First of all, commend you for this effort. I think it's important. I mean, I'm kind of the senior person in terms of age on this board.
Kinda?
Yeah, and I remember I had PE both 7th and 8th grade, and then in high school as well. In fact, that's where I broke my neck
They're rolling really
freshman
big
year in
rocks. That's
PE
what they did
class.
then.
But I'm still here today, and I flew airplanes, so don't screw with me. Anyway, I had a suggestion for you, a couple of them. We have the Chartwell's company, and we have a chef actually on staff who's really into this kind of good eating, proper eating. You might consider bringing him in in your limited time, but bringing him in for maybe a 10-minute speech to the kids about healthy eating to go along with healthy living. So that's one idea. The other thing is for the community fair you're talking about, we have that, what do we call it, the first home football game where they have the big.
The big tailgate.
The community tailgate might be a nice place to set up a little booth or something and have stuff you could hand out there and talk about wellness. A lot of parents come there. Good idea on that. The other thing is I join with you in the alarm, because I've been reading, having been a veteran, the armed forces cannot even recruit healthy recruits these days. They've had to lower their standards because we can't get people in the military, 18 years old, 20 years old, that are fit enough to carry a 60-pound pack and defend the nation. So it's a big deal. And I don't know, Cameron, I'd like to look at the scheduling again. I know we're always trying to put too many things in too little time, but this has to have just as much priority as anything else, even though there's competing interests. Everybody, band, choir, art, everybody wants to be in there. This is really not an extracurricular. This is really something that the kids need to do. And the elementary kids you showed having so much fun just running around. When we were kids, when I was a kid, we were allowed to go out and play and not be supervised because we weren't worried about bad things happening. Nowadays, parents have to worry that their kids aren't safe, and that's unfortunate, even though we live in a safe city. So I think that hurts too. So every bit of PE time they get, running around, blowing off some energy, it helps. So thanks again, appreciate it, and I hope those ideas are useful.
Excellent. It was really, I'm really thrilled with this because it looks, it's exactly what we should be doing, right? So the fact that you're gonna train these kids for life, it's too many kids are measuring their fitness level with a scale instead of, how it should be, and teaching them about nutrition. My daughter, she doesn't know much about nutrition. She doesn't know what to eat before an event. She does all those things that you guys are gonna teach her are like such, we try to sit down and talk to her about things, and, she's a good eater, but they think eating less is fitness, like if I don't eat, or if I just have salad, it's like, no, you need to eat and learn about nutrition and what you should be eating. So keep doing what you're doing, bring us whatever you need, when you have needs, if, whatever we can do. George said we can rally community members to bring in more money, we can go squeeze the Cleveland Clinic who's trying to squeeze us, and we can put the squeeze on them and do some other things and get you some help with this initiative, because it's outstanding.
And if I could just piggyback off that real quick, Mr. Naso, I had Kirsten in
Uh-huh.
my health class. We only get very small amount of time and to teach real health concepts. And at her year, it was a week and a day that I got to spend on nutrition with how rigorous how much curriculum we had to get through.
Right.
And that's exactly it, and that's what we're asking for. Give us a little bit more time so that we can hit the concepts that will stick with them the rest of their lives. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I had
Jane?
something.
Yep, absolutely.
In piggybacking to that, have you discussed maybe joining this wellness and your health curriculum to give you more expanded minutes, or to even at the elementary they have recess to try and have a little more prep time for them for when you're out at recess? This is what they can do, not necessarily conduct recess, obviously, but to give them a little more guidance for recess, to have that expand their opportunities. There you
Yeah,
go.
he's on it.
Well, during recess time, usually the cafeteria is being used, which in most elementaries is the gym, so they don't have the space in the elementary to.
Right, but they're outside. I
Yeah.
mean, there's basketball, especially maybe there's some equipment you're missing. You could tap the PTA to say, hey, this would really benefit our schools if we had, this kind of equipment to offer to your students.
Knowing the elementary teachers, they have asked the PTA and they are trying to get some. There is, I believe, a little fight back with that with them. They had a huge list of what they wanted to get. They're working on it, so they're hoping to have it by end of this year or the start of next year.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
And then speaking to aligning the PE and the health, again, it comes down to time, and we're trying to find the balance. For instance, with our current sixth graders, we see them every other day. It's green and white days. So some weeks it's 2 days a week, some days it's 3 days a week. We do talk about health-based items with them, but it's more on the physical side. And we do some nutritional lessons too. We talk about de-stressing and mental health and breathing. So there are components of that type of health in every weekly lesson that we do. And then in the 7th grade, it's only a semester. And again, we have so much to get through, the 5 components of fitness. And then in the 8th grade, we do a semester of health and a semester of physical education. And we have all the body systems. So it's just a lot of material in such a short amount of time. But we do incorporate snippets and clippets of that other type of health, not just the physical activity. But with your comment about the recess, we'll take that back to elementary. I think that's a great idea to have maybe daily recess, tips, try to do this many sit-ups or whatever it can be. I think that's a great integral part that we'll relay back to our elementary teachers.
And then I know at one point there was an attempt by the state to have schools keep track of students' BMI and all their progress, so you have a baseline to see if all of your efforts are really achieving what you want them to achieve. Is that something we're doing, or is it kind of a feel? I feel like our kids are going to be getting healthier if they're doing, is there a way that you're going to actually measure that it's working?
Currently, there's no tracking system available. We met on Monday to finalize this, and we were looking into, we use Polar technology for our heart rate monitors, and I know they have different systems that do different things for your health. Also FitnessGram, we use them, and they have an online tracking type system. That would be something we'd work with the district about, the HIPAA laws and all that,
Well,
but
or even at the high school to say, you started your class this way and you were able to, do 5 push-ups. Now at the end of the class, you can do 25.
So we do, we do like a fitness plan and how many push-ups. So in the middle school, I can speak to, mostly in the 7th and 8th grade year, but we're going to try to implement in the 6th grade year too, if possible. They do PACER, which is a running cardiovascular endurance test, a push-up for muscular strength, sit-up, and they start at the beginning of the class and then at the end of the semester or quarter, and then they have a plan which they decide what they could have done to improve more, or what in the future what they can do to improve more on that.
Right, and can that carry through year to year?
That's
so
our goal.
They don't, all of a sudden keeps.
That's what's being done right now with us, but we want to make it.
Right. Right. Yeah, so we've talked about it. It's like Mr. Dunley said before, we're starting small, and we want to be premier. We want Strongsville to be premier for firstly in academics, of course, but definitely in our department too, and have healthy kids.
Well, they're linked, like you said, right? So
Yeah.
you've got to have the whole body. You can't just be,
Right, and these are conversations, I appreciate you guys bringing these up, because these are conversations we've had in the very, recent times, so.
Okay, well, I applaud your efforts, and anything we can do will certainly, I will participate in any activity.
Me too.
You have my commitment.
Yeah.
Just going back to the scheduling piece for a second. Next year, they're implementing a wheel with the 6th grade students. It would be amazing if we could get a quarter of PE, a quarter of health at the 6th grade level. And then I'm not sure what else they have planned, but that quarter of health would, again, help us out immensely when you talk about the curriculum that we have when it comes to health education and trying to spread it out over the course of 3 years instead of trying to cram it into 2 quarters or a semester at the 8th grade level. Same thing with 7th grade. If we had the opportunity for a quarter or even a semester of 7th grade health, which is now wellness, it would help us out immensely too to kind of spread that curriculum out. As she made mention earlier, we get a week out of our curriculum maybe to touch on nutrition because we're spending so much time on body systems and human sexuality and mental health. There just aren't enough minutes in the day and days in the week for us to get through what we need to get through when you then throw on testing and losing class days due to snow days and testing days and all that. It really limits the amount of time that we have. So again, I understand the situation we're in and what we're trying to do, but when you think about the vision, and as you guys have all mentioned, it's important. And having that extra time would mean a lot to not only us, but to the students.
Richard?
So the information in your presentation that resonated with me was the statistic, and that it was a third are overweight or obese, but that's a state statistic and it's a national statistic, and it doesn't apply equally across. Urban areas, socioeconomic areas have different ratios. What I'd like to see is real hard data and not just 5,500 times 35% is 1,900. So that something small, but I think would pay dividends is to take a year and find out in Strongsville City Schools what are the numbers. And we don't have to have names or what have you, but to really know what the extent of the problem is. Overweight and obesity are serious problems, but they don't affect everyone the same way. And so to concentrate across the board for every student, we have students who have plenty of physical activity by their nature. They're into sports, they're into all of those things. They have more physical activity that they could share, if that would be a way to put it. But to define the problem and then to be able to come back and say, now that we know the size of the problem, instead of trying a broad brush, how do we deal with just those kids who truly do need help? And how do we deal with kids who, my son is fencing after school. He's getting plenty of physical activity. And I want to make sure he has the time to do that and concentrate on his studies. So I challenge you to say, take a year, let's define for Strongsville how big this problem is, and then come back and say, are there ways to incentivize, to encourage students who need that, and the other ways to say, let's provide some flexibility to the kids who don't. We talked about, recess or what have you. We program our kids a lot. I would hate for recess now to become a wellness program, because the kids just need to be able to go out and have some unstructured time. And, we're always trying to balance competing interests. But I think it would be a great place to start to say that 33%, how does that work in Strongsville? Is it 40%? Is it 20%? Until we know that number, then you can start to make some real decisions and have some interesting results. But thank you.
Go ahead.
I appreciate those comments. One of the things that we want to do, and when we say not your parents' PE, is a lot of our parents, and maybe even yourselves, when you left high school, were you given those, and this is just a rhetorical question, you guys do not have to answer, were you given those lifelong lessons of this is exactly why you are working out. This is how to work out. This is what you're going to work out. A lot of us graduated with badminton dimensions, how to shoot a basketball properly. But in our everyday lives, how are we using that? We get questions more so now than ever from parents, either just casually or through emails throughout the years. How do I do this? What am I doing wrong? Why am I overweight? What am I supposed to be eating? I've got a kid that I train on the side for something else that I do, basketball training.
He does it properly. He doesn't use our facilities, and he doesn't charge his own students. So just to make a note of that.
I know what you're talking about there. And no, I do not.
I know that.
But I've got a kid who is overweight, family is overweight, has never been taught, he's a 5th grader, has never been taught how to properly exercise. And I've showed him, this is exactly what you need to do. He comes to me every week when he trains for basketball, and I ask him, are you hiding that queso in your room at night? And he's gotten to the point now where he drinks nothing but water because he didn't know that water was essential. He doesn't eat cheese late at night. He doesn't eat as much candy anymore. The family now doesn't keep junk food in the house anymore. That's something that we are trying to institute here. And I have your son in class, fencing, right? I'm not a fencer, and I don't know how much physical activity that goes into. I would compare that to a sport. Would you be able to use that strictly for the rest of your life? Does that include how to properly go into a workout place and use machines, proper form, stuff like that? I can't play basketball the rest of my life. And I need this type of information for me to stay in shape, because my body's not going to allow me to continue to do that, right? I'm going to become a golfer because they don't have to be in shape. So just to go along about how, sports and physical fitness, they're kind of two different things when you look at, the dimensions of it.
And the other aspect that I'd like to also add was and Mr. Hubble talked about it a little bit, was that the 6th grade health component that he discussed, and the importance of that, and how we don't have that. Our kids don't get health until maybe the 2nd semester, sometimes of their 8th grade year. And we're looking at society in general right now with all these problems that we have in society, in the schools, in the, over here at YouTube now, and you're wondering what's the background of some of these people? Were they ever taught how to deal with stress and situations in their life? I don't know. But we're at least going to try to be able to do something with them at a young level, young age, to instill some values in their lives and to deal with stressful situations and how to handle all those things. We're going to at least try to do that.
Excellent.
We'd like to try to do that.
Well, we appreciate, and I mean, we're all just asking questions, right? Don't misinterpret how excited we are about this and how pro this plan we are, because there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot more to wellness and physical well-being than just being a good soccer player, right? Or a good basketball player. You've got to know, the nutrition side of it. You've got to know, there's a lot of things that you're going to carry on past. I was a wrestler, when my last wrestling match in college, my coach told me, he goes, nothing left for you but bar fights now. And I was like, great, I was like, great advice, coach. But, you got to be able to take something from that for the rest of your life. I've always exercised, and I try to all the time, but you got to keep learning. It's nothing I learned in school. It's nothing that I learned, so I applaud it. This board applauds it. We'll support you. As much time as we can possibly give you during the school day, we'll give you. I see Cameron's making notes. He's going to work on it. You'll have all the time you need. And
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the extra work.
Well, good luck to you.
Listen to me now and believe me later.
And do us a favor? Keep us in the loop.
Yeah,
You know, every few months, I mean, as you guys meet, just keep us in the loop. It
So
wouldn't
not-
be a bad idea, just let us know what your progress is, if you guys need anything.
roadblocks.
Again, just keep us informed. I like where you guys are started, but now the hard part's gonna be taking each forward step and going through the roadblocks as they come along, right? And buttering up Steve back there and trying to get more minutes a day for your kids and everything else. It's just, but that's the hard part now. You've got a great vision, you're gonna have to clean it up and narrow it down, but you're gonna have to take those hard front steps. And so, good luck and keep us informed. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hey, Becky.
Have a good
Well,
night.
before you leave, hold on one second.
No.
You got your time, I get mine.
Oh, there we go.
No, I want to thank you for all the work that you put. You know, April mentioned it quickly, but on spring break, they got together. They were together Monday to finish the presentation so it could be ready to share. The time that you put, the organization, I mean, it truly was at a high level of what you presented tonight. And here's the part, everything what you shared, I'm not going to echo what the board said, you did a great job. But here's what I appreciate from you, and I challenge your colleagues to do. It took a lot of courage to do what you did tonight. A lot of people could sit back in their classrooms or sit back in their areas and talk about all the things that are wrong with the district or all the things that are wrong with kids and vent to one another and not put a plan of action in to solve it. So I applaud you most of all for professionally and positively telling me what you don't like about the decisions I've made. I love it because it is about challenging me, challenging you to how are we going to get better. Now, obviously, we know everything that you've put on that list is probably not going to happen. But there are things we can look at, what we could chip away at, what we could do better, what we can carve some minutes, and I don't know what they're saying over there, but, but how we can enhance and how we can work together to make your vision a reality. So I just applaud you, I thank you, and hopefully people will take the leadership that you provided and be inspired to do things a little differently across the district. So thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Next on the agenda, we do have one item under Human Resources that Mrs. Pelko is going to share.
Okay, I have one item under B1 for your consideration. It is a memorandum of understanding. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the memorandum of understanding between the Strongsville Board of Education and the Ohio Association of Public School Employees, Local 028, as stated in the exhibit, be accepted. And this does require a vote.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Duke. Second?
Second.
Well, it's over, so Jane, thank you. Any discussion? George, take roll.
Cronovans?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Mr. Grozen?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Brings us to board policies. We have our third reading on policy 2340 and 5136. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Duke.
Second.
Thank you, Jane. Second discussion?
Can we
Richard?
vote on them separate?
Sure, absolutely. Let's vote on policy 2340, field and other district-sponsored trips first. Can I have take roll?
So,
Any discussion specifically on 2340 before we take? No. All right, can we have a vote?
actually, Mr. Miko, before we take the vote, can we, so Richard made a motion to vote on them separately. And then can we have a vote to vote on them separately?
Okay.
So this vote is to,
Seconded that motion.
just want to make sure I get it correctly.
Can we have a vote then on, I'll need a motion then, I guess, to vote.
No,
Any-
you
Just-
need a
second.
vote now
I
to
second
be
the
able to
We've
motion.
already
split them.
seconded the vote,
Yep.
but did we have a separate to vote on separately?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we're
so
voting
no-
on. If
So
we're
now
gonna
we have to
them
vote
separately.
on
Splitting it.
splitting
Splitting
them.
it. Okay.
Go take
So
a roll.
we'll vote to split them.
So, Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Cronovans?
Yes.
Mr. Grozen?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, policy 2340, field and other district-sponsored trips.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Mr. Miko?
No.
Mr. Naso?
Yes.
Cronovans?
Yes.
Mr. Grozen?
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig?
Yes.
Motion passes. Policy 5136, personal communication devices. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, George. Discussion? Let's vote.
Colonel Evans,
Yes.
Mr. Grozan,
Yes.
Mrs. Ludwig,
Yes.
Mr. Miko,
Yes.
Mr. Naso.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excellent. This brings us to Board of Education, Other. George?
I do. I had the pleasure of participating or being at the PTA meeting today. We do have a Rocking at the Rec this Friday. It's a luau theme. On the 7th, we've got a green day, a craft day. I should have got more notes. On the 14th, South Park Mall is going to have an event called Art Rocks. It's between 12 and 4 o'clock. There's going to be some games and competitions. Each school, especially the elementary buildings, need student participation and some parents there. So please, they'll have sign-up geniuses set up. On the April 21st from 9 to 11, and then April 25th from 5 to 7:30, there'll be a registration for Safety Town for kindergartners, kids going into the kindergarten at the rec center. The 28th from 5 to 8 is the Mulligan's Wing Ding from the Women's League. Women's League does a lot for our students and a lot for our kids. On the 20th, at the local bar, from 6:30 to 9:30, at $25 per person, is the high school's Wing Ding. This is where they're making their money for prom. So it's a big deal. If you have an opportunity, please do that. On May 31st and 30th, we'll have DARE graduations at the middle school. Our final Rockin' at the Rec will be June 1st for the incoming 5th, 6th, and 7th graders, so that they will have an opportunity. And then I just received an email today. Interestingly enough, we have 7 or 9 children from Strongsville Middle School going to the Skills USA state competition next week, and they'll be from Bahina is taking the kids down. So I just thought that was really neat. That's U.S. skating competition, and everybody knows my niece does that as well, so I just thought that was really neat. So
Cool.
remember Rockin' at the Rec this Friday.
Okay. Anybody have any other before we get to our, Richard? No? Okay. So in Board of Education, others, one-time waiver of board policy, and that's competitive bidding for security and protection of school property. I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that the Strongsville Board of Education approves a one-time waiver of competitive bidding requirements per board policy 6320 to address the security and protection of the school property based on authorization given in ORC section 33.13-.46, and authorize the superintendent to take the necessary actions to provide increased entryway security at selected elementary school buildings. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Duke. So, discussion, this is about, we want to make enhancements for security to the entryways to certain buildings to ensure that they're more secure. And we're looking for a waiver on the competitive bid. George, you want to take it from?
Yeah, please understand, it's not as if we're not going to be doing competitive bidding. We will get multiple bids for each individual skill necessary, right? We're building secured entranceways, and we have to reroute some wiring and everything else. We will be getting competitive bidding and multiple biddings for each service. We are just asking for the ability to do it in an increased rate. So instead of going to a public bid where then we get the lowest cost, we are going to then manage this process for us and get multiple biddings and do the same process. But what we're doing is we're doing it at an accelerated rate. We want to get those enhancements done before the beginning of next school year. And we've got a great team. Mr. Breckner has us, well in hand. But this allows him to be able to get this done before the beginning of next school year and not have construction in those buildings before those children get back.
Excellent. So we'll guarantee, we'll assure that we're gonna spend the money wisely. We're just gonna expedite the process
Yes,
because
sir.
we need to have all the work, we need to have the bidding, everything queued up, everything ready to go for the summer so that we can get it done over that short period of time. And it's a considerable amount of work, that's gonna need to be done. So, but when we get it done, it's gonna be safer and better. So it's all part of our security plan of what we've been working on, trying to get better. Does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns?
Does this also include the preschool, or does this preschool not apply to this issue?
At this point, it's, one of the things, thank you for bringing that up. I would like to strike out the word elementary and just have it as schools. The reason being, right now, this does not include the preschool, but we do need to do some enhancements to the high school. We do have a part in the athletic wing in the back that we need to address. People come in that through the buy tickets or for whatever reason, so we need to get that done. So right now, it would be elementary schools and the high school.
But
Okay, so
thank you,
just-
Jane, thank you for that. That will be a question that I will have next week for
Okay.
Steve. Thank you.
Can't forget the little one.
So
No,
George, make sure
absolutely.
that what we're gonna vote on is gonna exclude the word elementary.
And just to be clear, the reason we're doing this is if we did the process the way we normally would, those bids would have to come back to board meetings. We'd have to vote on them, and time is of the essence. We want to get this work done this summer. It's already April. If we used if we did these votes within the confines of our board meetings, we would run out of time and the work wouldn't be done before school starts next year. So we're still being good stewards of the public's dollars. This is a one-time issue because time is truly of the essence, and we want to get this work done to improve the security at the elementaries and the high school.
Okay, any further comments? George, take roll.
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Mr. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Nason?
Yes. Motion passed. Excellent. We do have need for executive session this evening.
To consider the employment of a public employee or official, to prepare for negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, to consider matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations or state statutes, and to discuss details relative to the security arrangements and emergency response protocols for the board.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you, George. Any discussion? Nope. George, take roll.
Colonel Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Grozan?
Yes.
Mr. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mr. Nason?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Excellent. We'll enter an executive session at 8:10. When we come out, we won't have any further business. Thank you very much, and have a great evening. Go Tribe.